In this video, I'll show you how to use the trainer in Lab Monster Toolkit to learn a tight link. So, a few things that I've already set up. One, I've got a MIDI controller already configured for the virtual gamepad, so the gamepad will make sounds when I hit buttons. Two, we're going to be learning a link in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Black Panther has a 3-frame link that looks like this. That light kick after the first single hit Rekka is a 3-frame link. The recording has already been edited down to work functionally. It's in this sequence. We're going to go ahead and close this editor and open up the trainer. So the trainer is like a DDR input visualization for fighting game combos. We're going to load up the sequence here, and you can see in this scroll area that this is the sequence. It's down forward, heavy kick, quarter circle forward, light punch, and then this is light kick, and this very large gap from here to here is the 3-frame link. I find gaps like this incredibly hard to time. I just feel like I'm lost. A few features in the trainer: you can adjust the spread on the inputs. I think it's generally better to compress them more so that you can see, so it scrolls slower and you can see more of the inputs coming. You can also adjust the starting input and start look back. So these are features for having it auto start when you're pressing the buttons so that it can keep up with you. You can also choose which gamepad you want it to demo on. So if I hit demo on gamepad, it will play it on the gamepad that I select. So right now it's playing it right there on gamepad 1. We'll talk more about, so if you hit play, it'll just play. And you can, if you want, you can just press play and then immediately switch to your gamepad and try to play. You'll notice that when it's playing, the recording is happening over here. It will be recording your inputs while this is playing, that so that you can compare inputs when you're done. So we're going to do a start-based, start on input. So start on input is this checkbox here. This makes it so that when the gamepad receives a given input, it will start playing. Now, you can have it ignore the directions of the inputs so that it only cares about button presses. And you can give it a certain number of lookbacks, although this lookback system is a little finicky. So the way this system works is if we are ignoring directions, that means that the directions are not taken into account with the inputs. Now, if we want to have a input start on input 10 to start the playback, and we set the look back to 7, that will make it so that pressing light punch on its own doesn't start the playback. But if we press heavy kick and then light punch, it will start the playback, as you can see. This is useful, but it's not the best. So it doesn't keep track of the order of the previous inputs. It just basically looks at it goes back to input 7 before the input that you're starting on. In this case, so let's go to input 3 so that we can see this. So it goes to this input and says, okay, did we get this input? And then if we get that input, then it goes to the next input and it says, okay, did we get this input? And then it goes to the next one and the next one and the next one. And so you can with a very long combo, you can get an out of order success on this. This is all to say that, like, generally this is just a finicky system and it needs to be made better. In general, it's really best to just have it start on the input you want it to start on. So I'm going to start on input 10, since input 10 is the input where the link is happening. So we're going to do that, and yeah. So we're going to do that. So that time, I didn't hit the link. So let's look at why I didn't hit the link. So we're going to go to compare inputs. So I was incredibly early. That's why the system is recording during the input playback, or during the training playback, so that you can do this recording comparison. Now you can save the recording it just made. You can also, like you can do here, you can change which of the two inputs you're using to compare with. And you can also load different inputs in if you want to compare other inputs in this window. So let's try again. There we go. That time I hit it. So let's do another input comparison. Okay, so I was only a little bit early, and it's a 3-frame window, so I was probably, I believe my recording is on a later frame, and I was on an earlier frame. So this time, let me show you what it looks like if we start, like, say, on input 4, which is for the heavy kick. All right, so that time it felt like I hit it, but because we were on such an earlier input, the scrolling might not have actually lined up with what the combo needed because the cancel windows are different. So let's go to compare inputs. So yeah, this was very close, but this wasn't. I did this input much later. So let's do a comparison there. Let's compare input 10 with input, I don't know, 8, no, 7? Yeah, input 10 with input 7. So when you change the comparison input here, you can see that, oh yeah, the link is between this button press and this button press. And yeah, I was super early, but I was super early because the visual was lying to me. That's one of the reasons that when you're using this to learn links, I like to very much have it start on the button that is right before the link. So with the demo button and the MIDI controller functionality, you can hear the pattern for the button presses, which can be very useful for people who learn with that sort of thing. So let me try that again. So yeah, it's a great way of learning timings and patterns. I do not recommend using this for incredibly long combos. There is this idea that people have that this sort of tool is really good for incredibly long combos, but because it can't get feedback for when the cancel windows are, it can't shift the notes to keep up with the combo timings. So really it's only good for learning tight links and specific subparts of combos. For learning really, really long combos, I suggest breaking them up into smaller pieces, and if there are hard parts of those pieces or you're having a hard time remembering them, you can try writing them down, putting them on the screen somewhere, or using the game time slowdown functionality to work through all of the motions at a slower game pace. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below or on the itch.io page. Thank you so much for watching.